Auden Tate, Nick McLeod, Darius Hodge, Wyatt Ray, and Tyler Shelvin are the inactives for the Bengals. When you look on the Jets, though, a couple of big names inactive is Corey Davis, the wide receiver, and then quarterback Zach Wilson, who is out with a PCL sprain. Geoff, that means we're expecting Mike White to be making his first career start today for New York. What are you anticipating kind of out of him and what the Bengals could see with him under center?
Well, I think they're going to get a guy that Zach Taylor scouted in college, but other than that, that's about it. So the word on him is they're going to be conservative. He's not very mobile. He's smart. He threw a touchdown on his first, NFL pass last week. It was only 3 yards, but I think the Bengals are going in thinking, Jets are going to have a hard time scoring 20, and they have to play to that, in mind. They got to take care of the ball. And they got to realize that the defense is probably going to give them some help. You got to believe that White's going to throw it up once or twice. So I think they're thinking, but they've had a bad history against rookie quarterbacks in their first start. Of course, Mike White is not Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson, who beat the Bengals in their first starts. But if he's Tom Savage, somebody named Tom Savage beat these guys on Christmas Eve in 2016. So you never know what you get. But this defense is a lot better than what Tom Savage faced on Christmas Eve in 2016. So I think White's going to have his hands full.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. It is the NFL, so who knows what can happen on any given Sunday. But as we're getting an opportunity to look now at some of the Bengals defensive players warming up, you see the secondary right there. But I want to mention Khalid Kareem, defensive end. He is going to be active for the first time this season. I know a lot of Bengals fans have been awaiting his return, Geoff, from that shoulder injury. What can we kind of expect out of Kareem today? I imagine he's going to be one of the first guys in the rotation on that defensive line.
Yeah, the guy he's replacing, Wyatt Ray, is inactive. Ray took 23% of the snaps. So that's a goodly amount. I think they'd like to give Khalid more. We'll see if he can go. He hasn't done anything in 2 months, But he's obviously the fans know their stuff. He's a guy that the Bengals like. He's a lean guy. He's long, and when he plays, he does something. He's active. We all remember the first. He couldn't get on the field until the preseason finale against Miami this year. In his first series, he had a tip pass and a sack, and he played well. And then he got hurt later. Later toward the end of the game, and that's how they ended up. They lost Joseph Osai in the preseason opener. And that's how they ended up with the trade for B.J. Hill and the waiver claim of Wyatt Ray. So, you got to go back a little bit to realize how he got here. They thought Kareem was going to play a lot. Now they finally got him, so it's going to be interesting to see how they work him in.
It will be, and as we have been taking a look at some of the secondary players with Mike Hilton, Eli Apple, Chidobe Awuzie, Geoff, they've been really holding their own, playing well as of late. The Jets, without Corey Davis, who is by far their top receiver, leads the team in receiving yardage and touchdowns. The only other Jets receiver that has come in and found the end zone so far has been Jamison Crowder. I imagine the advantage with that matchup is going to be going to the Bengals secondary this afternoon.
Yeah, I think you have to look at how well they've gotten the play they've gotten from Awuzie. Certainly, he's been one of the top corners in the league, you'd have to say. And Eli Apple has improved since the opener in Minnesota. He's done nothing but improve. And I think that they feel like they've got pretty good rhythm between they are covering people. They're not getting beat deep. They're not getting beat. The ball that Lamar Jackson completed last week for the touchdown was a perfect throw. He was well covered, and I think that's what they're looking for. You talk to these guys, Marisa. What's the first thing they say? Don't give up the explosive play, and they have not done that. The play in Baltimore was the first time they really been burned on a long one. So I think that, and plus the more they play together. A guy like Apple, keep an eye on him. He's been trying to get a foothold in the league since he was the 10th pick of the draft of the Giants in 2016, and he plays better each game. The numbers don't lie. Pro Football Focus says he's been targeted 3 times, once in each of the last 3 games, and so he's obviously covering somebody.
Yeah, Eli really has been improving, as you mentioned. It's been great to see him it looks like he's gaining more confidence each week as we progress through the season. But right now, the Bengals receivers getting their warm-ups in, and I mean, Geoff, the offense has been lighting up the scoreboard, putting up 41 points against the Ravens last week, 34 the week before. This Jets defense just gave up 54 points to the Patriots last week. I mean, could we be seeing Joe Burrow in this offense going for 30 plus again today?
Well, like I say, they may not. It depends how they play it, because they may know they're not going to. They know they're not going to need a hell of a lot to win. I think like I say, I think the number is 20. That they know that they probably that the Jets are going to be hard pressed to get. The Jets have, besides their front four, it's been a struggle. They get some of their linebackers back today, but they do not have an interception. 0.0 interceptions all year, a streak that goes back to last year. So it's like 8 games in a row they don't have a pick. So I think the secondary is probably going to be a very fertile ground for guys like Chase and Higgins and Tyler Boyd.
You mentioned, the Jets front, their defensive line, absolutely one of the strengths of this team. Quinnen Williams and John Franklin Myers have combined for 6.5 sacks. Could they be a handful for some of the Bengals interior linemen? We see Trey Hopkins right there, but when you look at even kind of rookie Jackson Carman this afternoon.
Lapp, I think broke that down pretty well on the radio. He's talking about how they make it difficult to get to the second level. They're very strong, and I think there's going to be a lot on those guys, Hopkins and Carman. Just what you said, the interior are going against some very strong people. That's why I think you probably look today. You'll probably see them attack the edges. I think they'll probably what the New York writers have been saying is teams have been respecting that huge front, but they've been beating them on the edge, screens, bubble screens. So I think you'll probably see a lot of action out there just to take some heat off of the interior guys.
Mm-hmm. And Geoff, what are you anticipating when it comes to kind of the Bengals run game? Joe Mixon hasn't gone over 100 yards rushing since week 1. Is it going to be vital in a game like today where you're not expecting New York to really go crazy on offense and for the Bengals really kind of establish that run game?
Yeah, I think it seems to be, at least in the last month, it seems to me they've been throwing to get a lead, and then they go to Joe in the running game when they've got the game in hand. I think I think this Jets defense, you'd like to hit it in the mouth. You'd like to. The thing you can't do with a defense that is constructed like the Jets, don't give them hope. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Don't let them hang around. Don't get them in the ability to pass rush. They have the ability to wreck a game. Just back on October 3rd, when the one game they did win, they had 7 sacks. So they have the ability to do that. So I think the wide zone, today with Mixon should serve them well, get them out of the middle. And I think it will be important today. I mean, if not just to drain the clock and get out of here with a win. I think that's the main thing they're looking at. They're not looking to put up 40. This team hasn't scored 40 in a row since 40 back-to-back in this century. So I don't think they're looking to do that. I think they're looking to get out of Dodge, and get to the next thing. And that means get ahead and keep Burrow protected and give the ball to Mixon.
Absolutely. And come away healthy, too, at that, with the Browns looming next week. But, Geoff, we know the Bengals are heavy favorites today against the Jets. Do they need to be mindful of a potential upset? Like you just mentioned, it's just this Jets team can come at you. They're hungry. They only have 1 win on the season. They're back playing at home. Do they need to be mindful and make sure that this game doesn't become, a trap game?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. And I think they are, because the Bengals are a little bit different than a lot of teams, because clearly they're knocking on the door. They've arrived. They're ringing the doorbell. They left the calling card, whatever you want to say. They're here. But they're different than a lot of teams on the cusp. They're different in that there's not a lot of. There are young players, granted, but there's 12 guys on this roster who have been to the playoffs, not with the Bengals, and I think that's a huge factor in a game like today, that it could get away from you. guys reading their press clippings and, the third game in a row, no matter who's on your roster, you're probably going to your third straight road game. You're probably going to sleepwalk anyway at the beginning, no matter who you got on your club. But the way their roster is, there's enough guys that know they're going to have to play today, or they're going to lose, and because they've been on playoff runs, with down through the years. So I think I think you're right. It's clearly a trap game, but I think this team is constructed to get through it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Geoff, a matchup that I'm kind of keeping a close eye on is really how the defense starts this game off. A stat that is just absolutely mind-blowing. The Jets have been outscored 44-0 in the first quarter of the season. I can't believe they haven't scored a single point in the first 15 minutes of play. You really want to continue that streak if you're the Bengals defense. You don't want to give the Jets, like you were mentioning, any hope, anything to start, kind of getting a little bit momentum under them. So I'm really going to be watching how this defense, with those leaders you mentioned that have been to the playoffs, respond here early on at MetLife Stadium. If they can shut the Jets down once again to start this, the first quarter, and really try to take that momentum for this Bengals team into the later part of the game this afternoon. What is a matchup that you're going to be watching?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of flipping it. Because you're right about that, about how futile they have been at trying to score points. But what about this Bengals offense? I kind of like to see them get up on top early. That's been a struggle for them. Now, they haven't been as bad in the first quarter as the Jets have been. The Jets have been, I think, Rich Samini of ESPN.com had said this morning, they're the worst team in the history. They're the worst team in the 2000s scoring in the first quarter and the first half. Bengals haven't been that bad, but it has been a struggle for them. I think they've only got 24 points in 7 first quarters. So, they've got to come out of the gate better. They've been talking about that for a while, and that, they came out shaky in Baltimore. Joe got hit early on, and, if they come out here and he's holding the ball, he's going to get hit because the guys from the Jets can rush the passer, particularly from the interior. So I'm looking at that offense. They have got to get, it's like you said about giving the Jets hope with that, you don't want to give them a turnover early, get them in the game, get them on the board. You got to come out better offensively, than they have really all year.
You're right, Geoff. Protect the ball. Protect the quarterback, get away healthy, run the clock out, all great keys to the game today. If the Bengals do come out with a win, it'll be the 5th time since 1990. They have started a season 6-2 or better. Each of those previous 4 seasons, they have made the playoffs. So a big game today when you're looking long picture for the team this season. But that is going to wrap up our TriHealth pregame live stream as the Bengals and Jets look to get set here at MetLife Stadium today in Week 8. For Geoff Hobson, I'm Marisa Contipelli. Thanks for tuning in. You can catch all the action coming up on CBS or listen in to the Bengals Radio Network.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Geoff.
Thanks, Marisa. Thank you. Happy Halloween. Thank you.